Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today, something happened unexpectedly. Bitcoin decoupled, but in the wrong direction. However, I do think it's important to look at this one important metric. So let's discuss what it is. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I mentioned that already. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and follow the brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. Welcome, 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 guys. Hope you're hanging in there. Today, we had a decoupling, but in a very strange way. Right now, futures indicate tomorrow will be like a red day. Not a good thing. But overall, U.S. market today was deep in the green, not red. You could see Dow is up 600 points. S&P 72 points, so not in bear territory. NASDAQ, pretty good rally, right? But Bitcoin could not break its previous high, which was formed just a few days ago, 30,400, 30,500. You can see almost at the same exact point. No, in fact, the same exact point, and then fell down, basically down to the bottom. You could see we've been here. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 consecutives, right? The peaks and valleys, I mean, it's about the same. So something is holding Bitcoin back right now. It is definitely being held back for whatever reason. Could be the whales, right? Could be the big players that are still trying to accumulate, whatever it may be. But we did get that decoupling today, which is really weird. Generally speaking, we have seen Bitcoin track NASDAQ, and NASDAQ had a pretty good day today, right? So what is going on, right? What is going on with Bitcoin? Why is it not moving? Well, there's a couple things. There's a couple things that happened today that may have spooked some of the investors out there. All right, so let's start out with this. So Atlanta's Fed president actually said something I thought was pretty positive, but he suggested that the rate hikes after the next two, which is in June and July, which Fed Chair Powell already said is going to be 50 basis points for both of those FOMC meetings. I mean, basically both months, they're going to determine to raise rates by 50 basis points. So that's another percentage point on top of the 0.75 that we already had. That's not a surprise. But even this Fed said that, well, you know what, afterwards, there's no guarantee that we need to raise more rates, right? It could be that's it. If we see inflation start coming down, which we did see last month in April, it went down versus March. If we continue to see inflation rate goes down, well, there's no reason why the Fed will continue to raise rates. That's actually pretty positive, right? So this came out today, but somehow, right around when this came out is when Bitcoin dipped. So this probably had something to do with it. Not quite sure yet if some of the traders are thinking that maybe if inflation is coming down, then you don't need to buy or hold inflation as a hedge against inflation. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But this did come out today, right? But, you know, other good things about the market. Here's NASDAQ, right? Looking at NASDAQ's previous drops from previous years. And you can see that pretty similar in terms of where it was before we started coming up in a big way. Obviously, right now in 2022 has been a pretty devastating start to pretty much everything. You can see all the big boys, Tesla, Amazon down about almost 40%. Google, Amazon, Microsoft down 25%, and banks down, and every sector pretty much down, right? So does that mean? We're at a bottom. We're close to finding a bottom, right? All this talk about recession, maybe it's not going to be as bad as people think, right? So if you add all this together, right, we're still trying to figure out where that bottom is. I would argue when it comes to Bitcoin, We have found that at 25K, but a lot of traders are still speculating where the markets are going to go and how that's going to affect things. What is going to happen with the rates? Like some people are speculating already, right? What's going to happen later this year? So there's definitely still a lot of uncertainty out there. So that is why I think we saw Bitcoin unable to break through 30,600 today. We came back down to the previous level we were at before, and we'll probably go make the same stair step upwards, and then we'll see if we can break it again. But there's something going on right now that's kind of holding things back, right? But the important thing I want to focus on today is this, the fear level, okay? It's pretty obvious. There's a lot of fear based on all the things I just said. But if you look at the fear index, it is down to extreme fear once again, to 12. Recently, we had a couple instances under 10. We had 8, 9 a couple times, 10, and then several times in the low teens, like 12 right now. And you could clearly see where we are right here. You could see this clump of fear. And I've always said that that clump of fear is good because look at the previous clumps of fear, okay? Over here, even though it was not just like one big clump, but you could see a lot of red over here from the low 8s, 9s to low teens. Over here, also clumps of fear. And over here, we saw in 2021, although not as nearly as fearful as now, but we definitely have that clump of fear, okay? And why is this important? Well, because usually when you get that clump of fear, when it seems like all hope is lost, that's when we get a reversal. It always seems to happen, right? So this relates to the general market too. Basically, a lot of people are still speculating what's going on, what's going to happen, right? There's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt out there. And there are, no doubt, a lot of people panic selling. But the ones that know truly what's going on, the ones that are focused on making financial or life-changing wealth or attaining financial freedom, the ones that have set their goal and they will not relent no matter what, the ones that are true holders, these are the people that continue to buy and buy and buy and DCA and HODL, okay? That is why Bitcoin is different from everything else. You don't see this kind of strength or conviction or faith in pretty much anything else, right? Bitcoiners know what's going on. Bitcoin is freedom. It's financial inclusion. It's breaking away the chains of your 9 to 5 or the banks or the Federal Reserve, right? That is why so many people really believe in Bitcoin, will continue to HODL and DCA and buy, and that is why it will continue. That's why it's important to have patience and continue on. But I do think that recognizing what's going on right now, of course, is go bring day-to-day fluctuations. You guys know that. I've been talking about that a lot. It's going to happen. But this is an important metric. This is an important sign. Whenever you get a clump of fear, massive amount of fear, if you base it on history, every single time when that happens, that's when you usually find a bottom and you start moving upwards. So, again, we could be at that phase, right? We could be. Now, I mentioned about fear. Here's a good contrarian way of trading. Guggenheim CIO Scott Minerd, someone that's been flip-flopping on Bitcoin over the last few years, got really bullish, got really bearish, really bearish, really bearish. But every time he gets really, really bearish, again, that's when Bitcoin finds a bottom. Last time in 2021, well, first of all, in the beginning of 2020, he said Guggenheim was getting involved. He himself thought that Bitcoin would go to 400,000, then 600,000. Then when things came down, he got very, very bearish because he actually didn't quite understand Bitcoin. So then he said it could go as low as 10,000 or 15,000, whatever. Obviously, in 2021, it didn't. It held at 28,000, and then went back up. Right now, even right now where we are, he's saying, well, it could fall down to 8,000. Right? Again, someone just truly doesn't understand Bitcoin, doesn't truly believe in Bitcoin at all and are just throwing wild numbers out there. Or you could argue he knows exactly what he's doing. He's trying to cause more fear so that he could accumulate more. It could be the latter. We don't know, right? But for him to come out now while Bitcoin is holding at 30,000 to say it's going to fall down to 8,000, I don't think anyone believes that. No one believes that, right? That's just BS. But again, just like in 2021, he said the same thing. So, could be a bottom indicator as well, a contrarian way of looking at things. Bitcoin held on the exchanges, hits the lowest level since November 2020. So obviously, this goes to show that there are a lot of holders that continue to buy, and that is why the reserves on exchanges continue to drop and drop and drop and drop and drop. No surprise. And of course, the major execs at MicroStrategy, Marathon, Mining, Coinbase, and you could keep going down the list, Hut8 and FTX, and I'm sure you put in Binance, and you put in everyone that's in this space, right? These guys are not giving up. They're going to continue to build, and they're going to continue to buy the dip. They're going to continue to DCA, right? People that are in this space know. But people that are not in this space think that Bitcoin is just like anything else. But it's not. It's not. All right, so those are things I want to talk about. What else is there? Well, this is interesting. Not everyone believes that we're in a bear market. You guys know I don't believe it. I think we're in a bear trend in a bull market. But this person thinks so too. If you look at going back all the way to 2013, this person argues that we've been in a gigantic Elliott wave. You know, Elliott waves, there's 5 waves, right? First peak in 2013, then you had a low in 2015, then our peak in 2017 was the 3rd wave, down to 3,800 with the 4th, and the 5th one has not come. We didn't have that parabolic rise like all previous cycles. So this person argues until we have that, that's the 5th wave. And then afterwards, then we go sideways for 3 years. So we still haven't found that peak yet. And that peak could be somewhere around 150 to 260,000. I can't tell on the right side. This is interesting to look at, right? So not everyone thinks we're in a bear market and we have to straddle up for the next year and a half, 2 years. We just haven't found that top yet. Could be, again, could be right around the corner, right? All right, what else is there? And then I saw this. 12% of adults have used crypto in 2022. Still early. I would argue it's way less than 12%. Honestly, if you just take a poll among your friends and family members, I doubt people, probably 12% have heard of Bitcoin or crypto, but I doubt 12% have actually traded it and used it. I find this off base, right? You guys could do your own poll. But everyone I talk to, very, very, very little actually have used crypto. Some have heard of it, but to use, very little. But the main point of this is very, very early. Still very, very early. That is why we're in it. That's why we can attain financial freedom, life-changing wealth, because it is still early. If you wait until the day where 8 billion people on the planet are already using Bitcoin and crypto in some capacity, and many have been hoarding Bitcoin for 20, 30 plus years, then it's not early. And we're not there. And you don't want to be in it when we're there. You want to be in it before that happens, right? That is why it's still very early, because vast majority of the population have no clue what Bitcoin is or blockchain is or what DeFi is, what wallets are, right? These are things they have no concept of. So there you go. There you go. All right. Lastly, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin and, what I want to say about Bitcoin. Lastly, I have some FUD about our favorite project, Terra. I don't know, all these news are coming out of from one place, okay? So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But recent news has just come out that the Korean police have taken measures to freeze Luna Foundation Guard's assets due to implications that they may be they're embezzling funds. Okay, that's what it's called. And all these things from Watcher News have come from this one place called Naver. Okay, it's like a South Korean news site. They're the ones that broke that Luna owes or Do Kwon owes 80 million in back taxes, and they're the ones that's breaking this story out, right? So I'm saying take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if they're purposely spreading FUD or these things are real, because if they're real, the situation with Luna is getting worse by the minute. Okay, and also it looks like all the major exchanges in South Korea, they may actually be accountable for the crash caused by Luna. Right? So they're being subpoenaed or summoned right now, and they're going to talk about how they acted when Luna and UST has been, when it fell, right? So they may even get in trouble for this. But it does seem like South Korea is taking this very, very, very seriously, right? And this whole situation is escalating. So again, yeah, it's not sounding good, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe, this is all coming from one news source in South Korea. Maybe there is some explanation, or this is just fake or FUD, right? But right now it does seem like there's a lot of bad things happening right now, and maybe Do Kwon should address some of these things. Okay, so just to throw that out there. But yeah. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, right? Kind of expected today to be a better day with the U.S. markets being upwards. But keep in mind, we're basically going sideways, right? We haven't formed a new low. We haven't moved anywhere. We're just going sideways. The market is fearful right now, or I should say people are fearful, not putting their money back in. The faithful, the ones that truly believe it, are still DCAing. But for retail investors, for a lot of Wall Street guys, they're not putting any big money in right now. They just don't believe. They don't trust the process, right? But we do. That's why we stay in the game. But that is why Bitcoin hasn't moved. All right, guys, let's do some Q&A. Oh, my sound went out. Did my sound cut out? Sorry. So I've been speaking to myself the whole time? Someone was asking about... okay, going back. Robert was asking about Doge surpassing its all-time high if Elon officially buys Twitter. I don't think that's the case. Okay, eventually, yes, but not right away. You have to see what he does with Doge, with Twitter, right? But I think he's gonna figure out something. You know, sometimes I hit the mute button on purpose just to see if you guys are paying attention. Ben, yes, thank you for that. Is ETH a security? No, it's not. The SEC already declared it's a non-security. Oh man. All right, busy. You're out of here. Guggenheim guy also said most of crypto is junk besides ETH and BTC. That's just because most people that say that really don't understand. Sure, most projects will fail. Most projects will never reach their full potential, but they don't quite understand what they're doing. Why there's so many projects and all the areas and niches that they're trying to fill. People don't quite understand decentralization and not being part of a centralized entity, right? Sure, a lot of these projects may not make it, but they're paving a way for companies that will. You know, like they say, Rome wasn't built overnight. Neither will 3.0, Web 3.0, right? Just like Web 2.0, Web 1.0. They took many, many iterations and many different companies to try new things to get to where we are today, right? You're not going to like find it immediately. That's ridiculous to think. Let's see here. What's your opinion on Loop Ring? You're only probably asking that because it went up today. Only because GameStop announced their wallet. But I don't like Loop Ring. I never did. I don't think being part of GameStop is worthy of them pumping. So, yeah, not a fan. Dude, when are we making money? I don't know. Depends on what you're holding and what you're buying. I sold some NFTs today. Seems like the NFT market is coming back, so a lot of NFTs are still booming. Well, good for you. I haven't paid that much attention. I've been looking at like Bored Apes and Mutant Apes and other side, and their floor price seems to have stabilized and coming up a little bit. So I think you're right there, but I haven't paid attention to other ones. I just bought. Rodrigo said I just bought $1,000 BTC doing DCA forever now. Congratulations. That's the right way to approach it. You know, just make sure you have enough money to continue on for long haul, right? Like every paycheck, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever, based on a certain percentage dip, right? Make sure you stay with that schedule. Miguel asked about, should I dump XLM? You got to think, why did you get into it first place, right? Do you believe in it still? Many of the things, I don't like XLM because many of the things they were working on has just disappeared out the window. The last thing they were working on was actually helping Ukraine come out with a stablecoin. I don't see any progress with that, obviously, for obvious reasons. But before that, I liked them because they were working with IBM on WorldWire to compete with XRP. That seems to have disappeared. They picked up, they formed a partnership with MoneyGram after MoneyGram distanced themselves away from XRP. But I don't know if that's such a big deal or if MoneyGram is using them. So I just don't see a lot of. I don't know what the future holds for Stellar. That's why I'm not a big fan. Milligan's Travels, yes. DCA every other week is the way forward. Good. If George is handing reins of Luna Terra, what would be the burning look like? I'll just base it on usage. Just like Ethereum, just like any other project. Right? You base it on usage. A lot of people already said, hey, why not burn 3%? Right? 3% of all transactions. Yeah, why not? Right? You can make it even more. So everyone that, uses Anchor for deposits, you burn 3% or 5%, whatever it could be, right? You could come up with something to kind of start decreasing the circulating supply, to start removing some of the trillions that's been added slowly over time. It doesn't have to be right away. Unfortunately, that's not the way Doe wants it. He wants the forks. I don't know, but I think many people agree. What do you think about Ecomi? I think right now, obviously, they're down with everything else, but their future is bright because they have a ton of licensing that no one else has, and that's going to help them tremendously in the future. So I think they'll be fine in the future. Litecoin, flip Luna, soon ETH. Okay. What do you think about what Scott Miner had to say on NBC this morning? Is that what I just covered? This? That Bitcoin could fall to 8,000? Okay. One thing is, Scott Miner may be good at what he normally manages, but what he's not good at is knowing anything about Bitcoin. That's for sure. Okay? That has been proven time and time again. When he first got into Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was on the uprise, he, like all retail guys, FOMO'd hard. And then started trying to manipulate the market, saying, Bitcoin's going to go to 400,000. And then he said it could go to 600,000, right? So he added to the FOMO until the FOMO stopped and it started going down. Then he didn't know what to do. Then he started spreading FUD. Bitcoin could go to 15,000. Bitcoin could go to 10,000. Right? And that is when Bitcoin flipped above, went to 69,000. Now, he's saying, well, it could hold down to 8,000. He's just throwing out whatever and thinking that maybe one day it'll stick. Right? So there's no Scott Miner. I would not listen to him on anything he says about Bitcoin. Maybe about stocks, about funds, about the economy. Sure. He probably knows way more than me, but when it comes to Bitcoin, he's just like a retail investor, FOMOing and FUDDing, basically. What project has made you the most gains? Say hello to Eddie. Hey, Eddie. I don't know. It's pretty balanced. Bitcoin made me a lot. Ethereum made me a lot. Solana made me a lot. Avalanche, yes. Terra made me a lot until it didn't. But, I've been DCing for a very long time. If we are in a bear market, Sand and Mana can survive. Yes, they can. They're the two biggest metaverses. They will survive. Ginja snaps. You're absolutely right. Everyone I know hasn't heard of it or against it. Yeah, that's why I think this statistic is very off. This poll is very off. It's more like 1% or maybe 0.5% of U.S. adults have used crypto, right? Or maybe 12% have heard of it, but still, most people have no clue. So I find this very off. And the whole point of this is that it is still early, very, very early, and that is true. When is Terra 2.0 coming out? Well, it should be coming out on the 27th unless it gets vetoed upon. But that is when it was supposed to fork, or when it is supposed to fork. What do you think about Phantom? I've always liked them, but of course, recently they've been moving a little better because there's some, some speculation that Andre Crony is coming back, and he might help them in a variety of ways. So, okay. Why can't Bitcoin break through resistance? When do you think it break through? It could break through any time. It could break through in an hour. It could break through tomorrow. But there is definitely someone or something or entity that wants to hold it back right now. You could clearly see that this is definitely a temporary ceiling, and someone does not want it to go above, right? So maybe to cause more fear, to cause more people to lose hope, right? Usually when this happens, it's to drive people out, to make them think that it's time to give up, that Bitcoin will never come back. And this is prime accumulation time for some of these larger whales. And maybe Scott Miner is one of them, which is why he's spreading FUD. But when we get out of it, and we always do, that's when we see the next leg up, and we continue forward. So temporarily, this is what we're facing right now. We will break through it. We will. It could also be the 27th, and I just discovered this. The 27th is the last Friday of this month, and it could be the option traders are making this happen on purpose because a lot of whales may have set their calls or puts right around this mark, the 30,600 mark, and they don't want it to exceed. That could be it. Usually the last Friday of every month, you see this kind of, you either see very volatile or a very stagnant week, right? One of the two. That could be it. That could be it. What do you think about helium miners? I hear they're very profitable. I have not used it, but I hear they're very profitable. If USDT depegs, will it crash BTC? Yeah, if it depegs like Luna did or UST did, and it goes to like 10 cents and 20 cents, it will crash the entire market. It will. But at this point, it's not likely. They still have enormous amount of reserves, but if there is some kind of huge bank run on it, then yeah, it could happen. It could happen. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, Bitcoin is still holding, right? We had a little bit of dip today, but it's not a surprise. We saw it before too. So we haven't formed any new lows or anything like that. It's just that the market is strange right now, right? Wall Street buys 1 minute, sells another minute, a lot of fear, a lot of people still speculating, right? And unfortunately, Bitcoin is kind of caught in that. And we may have some manipulation going on, holding Bitcoin back before options expiration this Friday, right? But it's important to remember that the long-term holders, the ones that truly believe and understand, and the ones that are holding for future wealth, right? They continue to hold strong, and they're not leaving the game, right? So that is who I am, and that is who you should all strive to be. A long-term holder. Ignore short-term volatility. Ignore the FUD. Ignore guys like Scott Minerd that's going on air, where is it, and telling people that Bitcoin can plunge another 70%. Ignore these guys. They want you to come out of the market. They want to fear you out of the market, and you don't want to believe in them because what they're doing is trying to steal your wealth away from you. So don't fall for it. All right, guys, that is it. I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, and let's see what happens with the market tomorrow, and we'll have another good one. All right? Have a good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.